Hey coach, I have to tell you that last time I gave you feedback on the wrong athletes. All right, because I see here that Ponka is in lane 3, but Ponka looks like he's a black kid. And then I also noticed that Clayton is a black kid. And the last time I was giving you feedback, and I thought that all the kids that I was giving you feedback on were white. So I'm sorry about that. I gave you feedback on the wrong athletes last time. All right, so Ponka is in lane 3 here. All right. And so let's see what happens here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so what Ponka could really do is be more aggressive with the first four strides. It's like they get quick and then they get kind of long because halfway through he feels he's not close enough, and now the steps kind of get a little timid, like up, 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 and in that timidness, they kind of open up just a little bit to make sure that he's close enough, and now he's no longer racing. So really, all Ponka needs to do is be extra big with the first four steps. So think big and powerful. Right, that first step is coming down real fast. And like if he was like a 10-5 kid, then this would be perfect. So maybe by the time he's a senior, he will be a 10-5 kid and we could revert back to this. But as a beginner, he doesn't really have the strength to just turn the feet over as fast as possible. So while we're learning, we should just power out big, powerful strides. He might need to be a little closer in the blocks to the starting line, all right, to make sure that his foot travels further than just barely over the starting line there. All right, but he should think big four, all right, and then that'll naturally make him feel too close, which will force him to chop the stride down. So he's holding a more forward lean here. All right, but from this angle, it looks like the last four strides in the back of his mind, he's like, oh crap, I might not be close enough. And so they slowed down and they increased in distance. And now he's basically upright here at the hurdle. See, he's standing upright. And that's more of a safety thing. Like, oh, let me make sure I clear it. Okay, and then he got the three steps in, and then he's still really tall, upright. Got the three steps in again, got the three steps in again, and then oh, he held the three steps all the way through. All right, so he did a good job of that. All right, but really, he could have been in a clear second here, or maybe even kept up with this kid. I think this kid might be the fastest in here, the kid that won it here. But it's just that, he basically raced for the first four steps. And then after that, he was in caution mode. Or let me not crash, let me not hit hurdles mode. And if he could just stay in that aggressive mode, he would be running a lot faster, like noticeably a few tenths faster, potentially making the final. All right, but the first four steps were quick. And then he has the hesitation, like, oh, I might not be close enough. And look how big this last step is. See how big that last step is compared to the first few steps, which were really tiny. And that lets me know that in the back of his mind, he was like, oh crap, I'm not close enough. He opened up the stride, and now that's basically the end of the race. So he wants the opposite. Be extra big for the first four steps. And if that's still not putting him close enough, coach, then have him be extra big for the first 5 or 6 steps. Eventually, he's going to feel like he's too close, and he's naturally going to chop down the strides. And that's what we want to get in the habit of doing. All right, so Ponka can definitely be making some finals here. All right, and sorry that I was critiquing the wrong athlete last time. All right, so now looking here at the next athlete, Dean, we got him down here in lane 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Dean went long on his sixth step. All right, so I'll play it in normal speed here. And it's like he thought he was off. He made that adjustment, and then same thing as Ponka. Now he's out of the race because he just transferred from sprint mode to caution mode. So let's watch it in full speed. See that sixth step? That sixth step was a caution step. So let's watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, See how that sixth step is like he took a bigger step, like, oh crap. And that was in preparation, like you know how the stutter steppers doing the 400 hurdles. You know, stutter steppers always make that mistake about 15 meters before the hurdle. And so this is his equivalent. At that sixth step, he's like, oh, I'm not on pace. And now going into the cut step, he was no longer sprinting because he put himself into caution mode. And so same thing, Dean could be winning this race here if he would have just stayed aggressive. We'll say give him the first 5 strides. All right. Stay big, get extra close for those first 5 so that you're forced to chop down. But so watch fifth step here. That knee does not open forward, but then all of a sudden the sixth step, you see that foot gets ahead of him. And that's him subconsciously, oh crap, I'm not close enough. Let me do something. And then he does something, and then the next 2 strides are just he lost all the acceleration that he had. And so now he's in keep up mode and keep up from hitting hurdles mode. And then ultimately, I think he might even 4 step here and drop down to third place. Yep, right there, 5 steps. And it all happened back here at the sixth step out the blocks. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goes big. It's almost like a little jump, and then 7, 8, and it's too late because we already lost that momentum. So this could have been a fight for first place here if he just cleans that up. So both Dean and Ponka really need to be overly aggressive and overly big with the strides for the first 4 or 5 strides. All right, and they could very realistically be in the finals next race. All right, then we got Clayton here, and Clayton's another one that I gave you wrong critique on. I was looking at a completely different kid last race, so I'm sorry about that, coach. All right, so Clayton is the black kid here in the middle. You guys have black and blue uniforms. All right, and so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Clayton is definitely big and powerful. He looks like he might be a little heavy. All right, but you know, he's still very strong. He still has more than enough speed. He could um he could literally just be more aggressive because he's got more than enough speed that I don't think he's ever going to revert to 4 stepping or 5 stepping. So when you're at that point, you really have to over exaggerate the aggression. But the first thing that he does wrong, this is in the prelim and the final, is he picks his head up immediately. So watch first step, he's immediately looking at the first hurdle. That's that stuff that Laji Dukure used to do, right? My favorite lead legger. But Laji Dukure, you know, could also long jump 26 feet and could also run 10-1. So he could get away with stuff like this. We're not at that advanced stage where we can get away with that. So Clayton needs to keep his head down for the first 4 strides too. So basically everybody this week needs to work on those first 8 steps through the first hurdle. And really what they need to focus on in the first 4. Be extra big and extra powerful for the first 4 so that you feel like you need to chop the last 4 or 3 strides into the hurdle. We don't want to feel like we're still trying to get up on that first hurdle. We want to feel like, oh crap, I'm too close. Now you're forced to chop them down. And if you could really chop that cut step down, now physics forces you to take more speed into the hurdle. And so Clayton could be winning this right here too. But you know, he's fast enough to 3 step. And so he's gonna always 3 step, but he really loses all his speed immediately from the first step because he's picking his head up and he's not driving aggressively into the hurdle, right? And this is okay once he's got, you know, some elite speed under him. But at right now, he's probably like an 11 low guy. He's not fast enough to get away with that, popping the head up immediately out the blocks. All right, so now looking at the final, same thing. Clayton is down here in lane 1, and you can see immediately he's got his eyes on the hurdle. First step is decent, gets away from the starting line. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But even still, the first 4 strides were real good. Like with physics and everything, his foot is driving down. He's truly accelerating, pushing behind his body. Those are real good angles. When you can see the foot driving down midair, that's a very good sign. That means he's actually accelerating. Third step was very good. Fourth step was good. Five step was okay. Six step, seven step, eight step. So six, seven, and eight were caution steps. First four steps were good. And then six, seven, and eight were like, oh, let me make sure I got this. And so now the kids who aren't thinking that are aggressive through the hurdle, and Clayton is in semi caution mode. Let me make sure I don't hit the hurdles. Oh, make sure I don't hit the hurdles. Let me make sure I don't hit the hurdles. But he was off to a great start these first four strides, especially in the final versus the prelim. All right, first four is right where you want to be. One, two, three, four. And then five, six, seven, eight. Caution, he stands up. So if he can just keep the same aggression that he has in the first four, two, three, four, if he can just keep that same aggression, he has a chance of winning this race, or definitely at least picking up a medal, because he would be so much faster right off this first hurdle if he was as aggressive six, seven, and eight as he was one, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. And all he has to do, you don't have to try and switch angles up. He doesn't even really have to try and push out any harder, because this is already he's covering a lot of good ground here. It's the simple fact that he's looking at the hurdle from step one. And so the adrenaline helps the first four, but that he was staying at the hurdle for so long, it's like with every step he's getting a little more cautious. Let me make sure it's right, let me make sure it's right, let me make sure it's right. And really what we want to develop as a hurdler is the habit of being so close that we're forced to chop down the stride, right? It should feel like a stutter step in the 400 hurdles, right? So in 400 hurdles, 15 meters out, you're like, oh crap, you're wrong. And then at the last minute, you drop the foot under you. That's what we want to happen here. So we want the first six to feel like, oh, he's way too close. And then the last two, he really chops it down. And now he's going to feel so much faster, and he's going to be keeping up with that kid in first place right there. All right, so basically everybody has to concern themselves with the first eight steps through the first hurdle this next race. All right. And what they need to do is keep their head down, and they need to exaggerate the distance that they cover for the first four, right? And then the same power line is taken through the first hurdle. But if they execute the first four right, they're naturally going to start chopping down the last four steps. And that's what we want here. All right, coach. So that's the review. They don't really need to worry about the hurdle technique at this point. They can all three step. They're all capable of being in the finals. Clayton is capable of picking up some medals easy, but they need to keep the head down. They need to cover more distance for the first four strides to ensure that they're too close so that they instinctively chop their stride down into that cut step. All right, coach, I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Talk to you soon.